Well, for years, and I mean over 20 years, Reverend Amy and I have had the same pattern for Thanksgiving. See, Reverend Amy has declared that Christmas music shall not be played until the Thanksgiving meal is complete, the pumpkin pie is cut and prepared. This is the way things go. And then on Friday after Thanksgiving, we will trek into the woods and cut down a real Christmas tree. These are traditions we started when we moved to Colorado in 2007. There has been some shenanigans along the way. There's the year my sister came and thought we were joking about going into the forest, so she dressed up and was wearing high heels. She thought we were going to a tree farm, and we are in Pikes Peak National Forest, and she is clomping around in high heels. There's the year that Nora was beyond cold. Amy's carrying Finn. I have the tree on my shoulder, Nora on the sled. People are coming up the mountain. They're excited. Everybody's feeling festive. And my child is screaming bloody murder the whole way down. There's the year it was so cold that we had bags and bags and bags of clothes and coats and gloves and hats. And every year, for some reason, it takes us longer and longer to find the tree. We seem to hike further and further into the forest until we find the tree we agree on. I want to cut down the first tree we find. Reverend Amy likes to look around a little bit. And we'll find two trees we think might work, and we'll look at that one, and then we'll go back and look at that one, and then we will go back and forth until we determine which one is the right one. And then even though I know I'm cold, I'll experience a new level of coldness because I'll lay on the ground, and I'm cold and cranky, and they're never great trees. They're not full, they're flimsy, but it is our tradition. Since 2007, we go into the woods and we get our tree. And we get to look at the pictures and see how our family has grown and changed over the years. Well, this year, we decided to do something different. We chose a different forest. Anybody been to Spencer's Forest? Spencer's Nursery? 7 minutes to get the tree. It was fantastic. No trampling through the brush and the snow, no cold fingers. I didn't even have to put it on the truck. Someone else tied it up for me. We broke tradition. There was Christmas music playing in our house the Saturday before Thanksgiving. We were fully decorated when people arrived. The pumpkin pie wasn't even purchased, and there was Christmas everywhere. And somebody said, "It's ruined. We started too early. We broke the tradition." Now I'm going to ask a question. I don't expect you to raise your hands, but to do some internal thinking. How many of you struggle with Christmas decorations showing up in stores in October? How many of you refuse to turn on the Christmas music channel until after Thanksgiving? Why? Why are we so opposed to Christmas starting early? Why are we unwilling to wait just a little longer for Christmas to come? See, the cultural truth for us is we don't like waiting, but Christmas is all about waiting, and we resist waiting too long because we have a fear that it will water down the experience. We know that if the lights get turned on in October, the magic is going to run out by December. If the joy is always available, then it becomes mundane. The season of Advent is to be a season of holy resistance against the consumeristic desire for instant gratification. It is the practice of learning to wait for something to unfold. And if we jump straight to the manger, we miss the journey of longing and preparing that makes the manger so profound. Charles Dickens' novella, A Christmas Carol, was published in December 1843. It has been made into 135 films and TV specials, and every generation has their favorite version. There's the Patrick Stewart version. There's the Jim Henson Muppet version. There's a Mickey Mouse version. Maybe some of you like the Bill Murray Scrooged version. Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds did a musical version a couple years ago that is fantastic. We all know the story. It begins with Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas Eve. He scoffs at carolers. He scoffs at his employees who want more coal so they can be warm. And he dismisses his nephew's invitation for Christmas dinner. Here's a glimpse from the 1984 special starring George C. Scott. Let's watch.
I'm off to the exchange. Don't lock up a moment early.
No, sir.
You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I were to hold back half a crown from your pay for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound. But you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
Christmas comes but once a year, sir.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. And I suppose you must have it. Be here all the earlier the next morning, Cratchit.
Yes, sir, I shall. I certainly shall.
Make sure.
Yes, sir. And a Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Scrooge.
Humbug. Ah.
Humbug. We know Scrooge is then visited by three ghosts with the hope that he will change his attitude. Scrooge thinks that the way of life is being good at business. He doesn't help the poor because, as he says in the play, I pay for prisons for them. I can't afford to make the idle people merry. I help support the workhouse. A workhouse was a debtor's prison in that day and age. Scrooge even asks his nephew Fred, "Why do you have so much joy? You're so poor." Scrooge is disenfranchised with humanity, with relationships, with caring. He has no Christmas spirit. Today's scripture tells the story of John the Baptist's dad, Zechariah, who was a priest from a little hill country town near Jerusalem. Zechariah is married to Elizabeth, and they have no children. Elizabeth happens to be the cousin of a young maid who lives in Nazareth named Mary. Now, the story of these two is only found in Luke because Luke is framing his argument is about the Roman Empire and the Jewish aristocracy. And he wants the people he's writing to know that none of the characters in the entire gospel are in charge of anything. Zechariah is a lowly priest from a backwater town. He's a nobody in the life of Jerusalem. And then something extraordinary happens. Every year, priests from around the country would come to Jerusalem, and they would spend 2 weeks assisting in the temple. And they were chosen by lottery to go back behind the altar, behind the veil, to the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant would have rested, where God, it was thought, would have dwelt. It would be like a lowly priest from Walsenburg, Colorado, being chosen to turn on the lights in the Sistine Chapel. This is a huge moment. He'd go back and he would burn the incense. It's a simple process. He offers a prayer, he lights the incense, he prays again. But then something happens. While he is praying, an angel of the Lord stands on the right side of the altar. Now, we often picture angels as chubby cherubs, right? Or these beautiful ones that have come into our space today. Hear me say, an angel of the Lord is anything but chubby or childlike. They are terrifying. Because the first thing they say is what? Do not be afraid. The angel tells Zechariah he's going to have a son, and Zechariah laughs. He scoffs. He says, it's impossible. Elizabeth is in her 60s. We are beyond childbearing years. The version of scripture we read from today said that they were old. There's another version that where he calls Elizabeth seasoned. I thought that was a great phrase. She's seasoned in life. Hear me say, it is never, never, never a good idea to laugh at an angel of the Lord. It was unexpected for Zechariah to ever have experienced one. And I like to think that Gabriel, the angel, also never expected that someone would laugh at him. And so Zechariah is forced to be silent for the next 9 months. Zechariah misses his part of the Christmas story. He misses that God is doing something new. Gabriel gets mad. Zechariah can't talk. He didn't pay attention to what Gabriel said, and so he had to wait. He had to wait 9 months for something new to come about. Do you see the pattern? Pay attention, humbuggers, or you're going to be forced to wait for God's new thing. Scrooge missed the message from his nephew. Zechariah missed the message from the angel that something unexpected was going to happen in the middle of the mundane of life. We have to wait. Advent invites us to slow down and pay attention. But if you've looked at your December calendar, and if it looks anything like mine, we are not used to slowing down. December is a time in which we actually speed up. Shopping, parties, cherry drive, concerts. The question is, in the midst of all that, will we see the messengers that are around us? Catholic priest Henry Nouwen wrote this about waiting. Waiting is a period of learning, and the longer we wait, the more we hear about him for whom we are waiting. Active waiting means being present fully to the moment, in the conviction that something is happening where you are and that you want to be present to it. When we wait actively, when we pay attention, the world changes around us. Look what happened to Scrooge. Look what happened to Zechariah after they were forced to wait. Scrooge begins his attitude adjustment by talking to his dead partner, Jacob Marley. And Jacob shows up, and you remember he's got chains all over him, and he's unhappy, and he's in torment. And Scrooge says, "You are such a good businessman. Why aren't you finding peace now?" Marley responds, "Humanity was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity and mercy and forbearance were my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the ocean that was supposed to be my business." Zechariah goes back to his job as a priest. He goes back to the people. And he doesn't say, "Well, I can't talk, so how am I going to make a difference?" He continues to serve the people. He took care of Elizabeth during her morning sickness and her sore back. He made people his business. In the coming weeks, you're invited to make people your business. When you're waiting in line at the pharmacy, wait with a good attitude. When someone you care about is in the very thick of grief this Christmas season, wait with them. And when you encounter Scrooge, and there are a lot of them out there, make humanity your business and invite them to experience Christmas with you.